You're working very hard on the defense reauthorization in the Senate. Let me ask you about this. There have been a number of incidents, 8 so far this summer, including one on the USS John McCain, named after your father and grandfather. You said this on the Senate floor this week. This is you. We are killing more of our own people in training than our enemies are in combat. Why is that happening?
It's because of a thing called sequestration and our failure over the last 8 years to make sure our military is prepared, equipped, trained. Whenever you cut defense capabilities, the first thing that goes is the training and the readiness, and because that's easy enough to cancel. If it's a new weapon system or something of significant impact, then that's a lot harder. So the first thing that goes is that. And so our readiness continues to suffer, and the training that they need very badly is not there. And I would add to that, adding on all this political correctness stuff with a shrinking military, when you really look at how much time they have at actual training and readiness, it's continued to shrink. So we have accident after accident after accident. We are killing more Americans in uniform in training than we are in engagement with the enemy. That's not acceptable.
Can that be fixed in the defense reauthorization that you're working on?
It can be fixed in the defense authorization as far as authorizing. The appropriations, the money side, is still on the decline, and we have to fix that. And I would quote no less a expert than the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who said, if we don't turn this around within 5 years, our adversaries will have caught up with us in capabilities. We don't want to do that, and we don't want to do that to the young men and women who are serving. Look, when we don't fund them adequately, and I'm sorry I get a little heated about this, when we don't fund them adequately, we put their lives in danger. That's what the service chiefs have told us. Don't we have a responsibility to these young men and women and their families? I called the families of the 10 that were killed on the USS McCain. I'll tell you, that is one of the most heartbreaking things that you can do. And so if we're going to ask young men and women to voluntarily serve in the military, we'd better, our part of the bargain is to provide them as much as we can and as much as they need in order to operate in the most safe manner.
You supported on Friday a bill that would prevent President Trump from implementing a ban on transgender. Give me your opinion on that.
First of all, I think that transgender people are in the military, and to somehow tell them, along with the Dreamers, that they have to leave the military, which is short of qualified personnel. I believe that I know that a study is going on right now, conducted by General Mattis, as to the whole issue. Why don't we wait until that is completed? And finally, what do we tell those young men and women who are transgender that are serving, that they're out? Same thing with the Dreamers. There's 900 Dreamers in Iraq and Afghanistan right now. What if we tell them, what are we going to do? To go to them and say, hey, pack up, you have to go back to El Salvador? That's just not fair.
Quickly, 2 other issues. One, the president's working on bipartisan approach. What do you make of that?
I am interested in that. Of course, this president's always full of surprises, but the problem is, John, it shouldn't be bipartisanship. It should be both Republican, Democrat, and the president. So yes, he surprised the Republicans with the deal that he made with Chuck and Nancy, with Chuck and Nancy. What should take place is the 3 of them, both leaders, Republican and Democrat, and the president, sit down and say, okay, we got a problem here, we need to fix it. And that means that we can come up with all 3 of us in one solid proposal. Why did Obamacare fail? Obamacare was rammed through with Democrats' votes only. Are we going to ram through our proposal with Democrats and the president? That's not the way to do it. We've got to go back. If I could just say again, the way to do this is have a bill, put it through the committee. We have Patty Murray and Lamar Alexander doing fine. Bring it to the floor. Have debate. Have amendments. We passed our bill 27-0 through the Armed Services Committee.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Senator. We've run out of time.
I had more to say.
We'll get you back then. We'll be back in a moment with Ken Burns and Lynn Novick, co-directors of the new PBS film, The Vietnam War. Stay with us.